Hello, welcome back to Monsters of Mike, episode 9. We are here in the full Bears swing. So yeah, we're happy to be back. It's our first actual breakdown and review of our game and opinions.
We are back. Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Costa.
Uh, 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 my, if you've ever been to Reggie's for a football game, you guys should go. It's fun. It's where Mondo and I watched our games in the city. But yeah, as the Bears had a fucking monumental breakdown in the fourth quarter, I had a monumental breakdown mentally in the fourth quarter at this bar.
He
Uh,
he was absolutely going through it. It was it was I was already a couple of Jack and Cokes in, so I was dealing with my pain a different way.
yeah, I'm very as you know too. Like I'm very like outspoken. I like really physically kind of show my emotions out there. And honestly, man, when Santos missed that field goal, I'm like, it's over. It's done. I'm like, right then and there, it dropped into my gut. I'm like, they're somehow going to lose this game. They're somehow going to lose this game. And lo and behold, here we are again, right? I told you I wore the shirt, right? We almost always almost win, and it says Chicago Bears because that is what this is the cycle we live in as Bears fans, you know?
Played great for 3 quarters, but not for four.
Right.
I
And I was
know.
going to ask you, right? I think that first half, honestly, the first three quarters of that defense, right, performance was absolutely outstanding. Losing, right, not having Jalen, Kyler, and TJ Edwards, that was outstanding, right, for three quarters. But once again, we know it's not a three-quarter game; it's a four-quarter game.
hmm Yeah, so I thought that same thing. I thought for the most part the defense played well. Um they kept giving the offense chances to go honestly to go ice the game because if we went up by 10 or
Mm-hmm.
just by another score, it's over. The
It's
Vikings
over.
are they're deflated. Yeah, they're not going to come back. But it would it was a one score game for like a good while and we just couldn't separate. And I mean, it's Kevin O'Connell. Like, I'm not gonna put too much stock into what McCarthy did. Yeah, he bounced back, and yeah, he's done it before, right? Like he did it against Alabama, when he was at Michigan. So, but I mean, I trust Kevin O'Connell to get him right at some point in that game, and it was 3 scoring drives back to back to back. So,
Right.
I mean, that's Kevin O'Connell, man, and give credit to Brian Flores too, because he was throwing things at Caleb that was
I
throwing him
agree.
off.
I
You know,
agree, and I'm glad you said that, right? I think and this was to be expected, right? I don't think I, right, as a person who, yes, am a negative Nancy, but also someone who's a realistic, like Ben Johnson's gonna have hiccups as a head coach this first year,
yeah,
right? And I don't care, right, that he has this great supporting staff. At the end of the day, it is his calls, right? It comes down to him. And yes, he says, right, that he could have done better. He wasn't 100% prepared, like call wise, which is a little concerning because I'm like, you had all off season to get ready for this game. So why are you not 100% saying that you weren't proud of the game that you called? Because I did feel like they tried to force the ball too much with Swift at some points in the game. I feel like that was really frustrating. And I get it, right? Ben Johnson likes to run through the play action, run the 12, right? Like all these things. Like I get that. I understand that. But like, okay, Swift ended with 53 yards, but like on 17 carries, he was only moving the ball 3 yards a carry. Like that's just like it's not gonna do anything, right? Like Caleb had a better shot, right, running the ball, right? He ran it.
Caleb had the most yards rushing
Right, right. So
of the
like
whole
like
team.
I think we need to kind of reevaluate that. But I think going this thing what you're saying, right? Like yeah, Kevin O'Connell, right? Like McCarthy, yes, those first three quarters was
He
was
was
absolutely
horrible, dude.
he
He
was
was
garbage.
he
He was
was
garbage,
garbage. Yeah.
right? But then that fourth quarter came, they saw some life. They struck. It got him going. Ended up with two touchdowns, 143 yards, right? A rushing touchdown, right? And yeah, like and it's really frustrating because yes, while Brian Flores, I think updated, like what's it called? Changed his game plan, right? And all this stuff. I don't think the Bears did. And I think that, right, is concerning only, right? Yes. I'm gonna say this kind of crazily. Only coach that I felt like adjusted at halftime was Eberflus with his defense.
hmm
Right? That second half Bears defense was always
They
a
always
lot
came
better.
out to play.
Right?
Yeah.
They always came out to play. He saw what the offense was going, he adjusted, and it was great. But 9 times out of 10, our coaches don't adjust, and I don't feel like Ben Johnson and or Dennis Allen adjusted.
I do. Well, that I get why Dennis Allen didn't adjust because it was working. Like
Sure.
there's nothing really for him to change. Um, it was really just the last three scoring drives. Um, for Ben Johnson, I think what happened is, it's you're managing a game, an entire game, and calling plays. Like, I don't think he's gonna be at his complete best. At least not right now, because he's still learning how to do it, with
Right.
finding the right balance. Like he even said it. He called a bad game, like play calling wise, because he didn't have a feel for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times they were expecting, at least in the first quarter, they were expecting the blitz from Brian Flores, and he just wasn't bringing it. Like
No.
it wasn't
No.
until later in the game where he really started to dial it up, and they just kept guessing wrong,
Right.
honestly. Like
Right.
that's the running game, I do agree that's an issue, man. I think he needed to get Manungai a couple more carries because the one touch he had, he was explosive. You could see it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And something that, speaking on the run game, what really upsets me, and I think I know this is gonna sound crazy, and I think, if my brother listens to this, episode, like he's gonna be like, I told you so. All of this comes down to Ryan Poles too, making some really bad decisions on draft day. Like you
Mm,
knew this draft class had plentiful of running backs, and you knew running back was the need, and he waits to the seventh round to take a running back. Granted, Monungai might pan out and be great, might be like a Pacheco-esque type running back who's taken late and pans out. Yes, I understand that. But you have a new offensive coordinator who, right, did not jive with this running back in Detroit, and he's the starting running back here in Chicago again. And you're not going to go and get, yes, you got the tight end, you got the receiver. At that point, if you're all in, why not get the running back? Why not take the shot at the running back in the third or fourth round, right? Because you barely hit, on your third and fourth picks in the first place, right? Your history is not the greatest. Why not take a swing at a running back? Okay, your guys aren't there. Fine. Caleb Johnson wasn't there, right? Other guys that you wanted, right? Hampton wasn't there, but it's like, who cares? There's a lot of running backs in this class I'm sorry, are better than DeAndre Swift. There was a play that I was rewatching over, and yeah, I think it was a run to the right, but the hole was in the middle. DeAndre waited a half a second too soon, and the entire thing, like, instead of like going straight into that hole, because that hole was massive, it would have been
yeah,
4 to 5 yards before he got touched. He just hesitates to go to the right, and by the time he comes back to that hole, he's already
it's already
tackled.
closed up. Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, like, this is an issue because if you start to actually move the chains on that aspect, guess what? That Ben Johnson throw the ball down the field starts to open. We barely threw the ball down the field, right?
Yeah.
Because his offense relies on movement, play action, this, that, and the other, keeping the defense on toes. And if the defense knows, oh, we're just gonna pass, I think that adjustment would happen because that's why I think they try to force the run in the second half. But you saw in that second half, like you said, like Brian Flores
Yeah.
wasn't rushing; he was disguising, right, moving
Yeah.
guys back into coverage, all these things. Because I'm just like, yeah, it makes sense because if we're not running the ball, you know,
Like what's the point? Yeah,
right?
yeah. I I know. Yeah, they had more guys in coverage because we became predictable at that point because I mean we were ineffective with the run. You want to know who went after Kyle Manungai? I think a couple of picks after.
Who?
Uh, Bill.
Uh, see, see,
And
see, and that's my
he's a
guy. I've
starting.
been high on him. I've been high on him all freaking off season and during draft season, right?
Yeah,
Like this guy's gonna be a dog. Like whoever's gonna take him is great. And yeah, what? He had a great first game, and he wasn't even a starting
he
running back at that
he had
point.
an amazing for. Yeah, he had.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. Yeah, he was the one who helped ice the game. So like, if that doesn't tell you, you know, Ryan Poles' draft record, then I don't know what does, man.
And I'm not right gonna say like, oh, this is all a Ryan Poles thing. I really really think, man, I really really think. I know they extended, right, Ryan Poles to match Ben Johnson stuff, but I really think they brought in Ben Johnson to be like, we're gonna clear house on these players if they're not gonna be up to standard. Because I think also in that game, while yes, coaching was subpar, I think the Bears just didn't have the talent and the players to close out that game.
I
On defense, I'm talking about defense. Like
on defense.
offensively, right? We'll get into Caleb in a second, right? But offensively, they have the talent to do it. But on defense, right? Like, yes, they got pressure on JJ early in the game, but after that third sack, there was barely any pressure on there. Those guys were gassed, right? We don't have that. And yes, Dexter played fantastic in Dennis Allen's first game as
It,
OC, right? Like he played great. They got that pressure, right? The first two sacks, right? Two of the three sacks were the first two drives, and after that, there was only one the entire rest of the game.
dude, they shouldn't have been gassed because they played like 40 plays. They
That's what I'm saying.
Caleb in the offense had like 60 something plays, and
Right.
the Vikings defense got better honestly over time.
And then I think also too something that I want to point out too, right? Is once Tyreek Stevenson went down, that's when JJ started moving the ball that drive.
Hmm.
Right. So like when Tyreek was on him, let's be honest, Tyreek did a hell of a job
Yeah,
on JJ, right? But then once he went out, once the other guy went out too, like it was
they had
it's
Nashawn Wright on him, and
that
I
was it.
mean,
Yeah, sure, right.
yeah,
Had that nice pick six, right? That was a 74-yard pick six, but it's just like, yeah, skill set wise, you're not, Tyreek Stevenson or Jalen Johnson's right skill set, right? So I feel like okay, great.
right,
That changed also the game too. Um, but yeah, I think on defense, right, like and I know Ben Johnson recently said like, oh, he's hoping that Jalen and I think it's
and
TJ ready for the
TJ.
Detroit game. I'm like, we're gonna need them. Like, it's a big game, and we'll get into that right as we talk a little bit later in our episode. We'll talk about the preview of that game, but like, I don't think they can go another game missing those two guys. I don't think so. They can, right? Because we are so thin on some of these positions, and once again, that goes back into right Ryan Poles right decision making. Like, I understand this isn't right. Ben Johnson even said it too. We're gonna break this down back to the studs, right? And we're gonna do this right. And I think yes, well, this year we all have high hopes, this, that, and the other, right? Blah 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 blah, right? Like
Yeah,
we gave Justin 3 years. We got to give Caleb 3 years, and I don't give a flipping f that he's the first round pick. Baker Mayfield was the first round pick. Look at him with the Browns, right? That whole shit. He goes to the Bucks and he's a playoff quarterback.
yeah.
I don't want to hear this first round pick. And also, generational talent is thrown out way too much. I know he got hyped for that, but I need to see more from him. Right now, I'm gonna switch over a little pivot to him. Right, is
He,
yes, he went 21 for 35, 210, a touchdown. Right, had a rushing touchdown. But man, his accuracy is concerning me.
I think I kind of know what the accuracy issues are stemming from, and that's I feel like he's too jittery, or at least that night, yeah, on Monday, it looked like his feet kept moving and like he wasn't really delivering with confidence, like he was kind of just throwing it as hard as he could and just trying to make a play. Like it looked like USC Caleb. It didn't look like I don't know, like a pro style offensive type of quarterback. Like
Hmm.
I felt like there was some, I don't know. For the most part, I thought he was inconsistent, but I don't think everything was his fault, right? Like, I do think, he saved the old line from a couple of sacks that should have been sacks.
Sure.
And, he got himself into trouble a couple of times, right? Trying to do too much on I think one of his sacks, he was trying to do too much and, should have just threw it away. Um, but he also made some nice plays, like the throw down the sideline to Rome.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
that whole first drive, it looked really good. Um, what I did notice is like compared to JJ, like JJ was settling in as the game went on, and Caleb kind of kept getting more antsy as the game went on. Like he was getting frustrated because the offense wasn't clicking. And I think that's maybe an area of improvement for him. Like,
Yeah.
just stay mellow, man. Just keep it cool. It's gonna happen. Just
Yeah. Because I was watching some of his like demeanor on the sideline again. It's like, bro, like and it was like 7-3. I think halfway through the second quarter, and like he started like maybe right he was tired, right? Like I'm not gonna sit there and be like I know what's I'm in his mind and stuff like that. But it's just like, dude, like you got to stop. Just like play your
don't sh
game, dude. Play your
yeah.
game.
Don't
Like
show it. Don't show emotion. Yeah, try
right.
not to.
Right. And something that's, that I'm taking into consideration, and I understand, right? Like Caleb was the first pick, right? McCarthy, I forgot, whatever was he like the 11th pick? I forgot where he went, right? I know he went after Caleb. I can't remember the exact number, but
Yeah.
you know, and granted, right? I know there's this one stat is like, Caleb's 0-3 against like his draft class so far with Drake May. Like, okay, we'll get into that because BS fucking Hail Mary, right? Because Caleb won that game twice, right? Like, then the team let him down in the Patriots game. And yes, this game here too. But I think something with Caleb that I want to point out too, right, is yes, he's played 18 games. His record is 5-13, right? He's had a lot of offensive coordinators. Is that JJ got to sit behind a veteran in Sam Darnold, got to learn the entire Kevin O'Connell offense last year, right?
For a
Got to learn
year.
the entire thing. And granted, yes, this was his first NFL game, but he had an entire year of knowledge of his playbook under his belt, other than Caleb did. Because Ben
Mm-hmm.
Johnson's playbook, right, is 100 times percent. I guarantee you, is more complicated and more intricate than Brown and or right Shane Waldron.
Mm-hmm.
So like once again, I gotta give him right that leeway. I told you 4 weeks, right? I told you earlier in this. You can go back to some of our video, right, our previous episodes, and I said I gotta give him a month. Right after that month, then I'm gonna start kind of right doing this, right? And yes, should they be 1-0 because they had that lead? Absolutely, right. But we saw on Sunday night, no lead is safe in
I
this league.
agree. No, I agree. And I think if you go back to like other quarterbacks who have kind of gone through the same thing, like I know Mahomes had to like sit. Well, he sat behind Alex Smith, whatever. But
Hmm.
his first season, he even said it. Like he was still learning how to read defenses, you know? Like Caleb's still learning how to read defenses. He doesn't know everything that he sees out there. So I don't blame him for, tucking it and running
Right.
like a couple of times a game. Like I get it, and I don't think it's realistic to expect them to, just to have just come running out the gates. It would have been nice, right? But it wasn't. I don't think it was realistic. I think about mid-year, sometime between week 7, week 8, that's really when it's gonna click,
Hmm.
and you're just gonna see like a slow progression. Just it's just gonna get better every week, slowly, slowly, slowly. Because
And I hope so, man. I really hope so because, like, I go back to once again a quarterback that I go back to that was number one overall. That was generational talent. It's Peyton Manning, right? He threw 28 picks his first thing, right? Like his first season, right? Like he wasn't the best for the first couple seasons until he started to build that team around him, right? So like we got to give, and I think right, the big thing about us, right, is as a city is like we're just hungry for it, man. I think we just want it, and we're sitting here, and we're like, oh look, it's the same fucking cycle, right? Like someone showed me like right the first 18 games between um what was the thing?
Mitch and
Yeah, Mitch and Caleb, and I'm sitting there being like, I, don't do that, right? Because Matt Nagy was is a completely different thing than right. Once again, Ben Johnson, like skill sets are different, right? Caleb can make those throws that Mitch can't, right? Like all these things. So it's like once again to stop, right? And then also like, oh Justin, look what happened to Justin Fields at the Jets. Granted, yes, you know how I feel about Justin. I made this really feel already earlier, right, in these things, but like just stop the
we can
panic button. Stop the
we can
panic
touch on
button.
the Justin thing. Like I agree. I think Justin had a good game, but that wasn't the guy. We saw flashes of that guy at times in Chicago. I think that's why we all knew he can do it because we all saw it, but we
Right.
never saw him do it consistently.
Right. They're playing
And
the Bills next week. So like
and
we'll see how they do it against the
we'll s-
Bills, right? You know
we'll
what I mean?
see.
Like divisional
Yeah,
game. Let's see how he does, right? And
right.
you're right. I think that's it. But I think I think Caleb, that's the part. I think the last thing with Mitch, Justin, and Caleb right now that's missing is consistency. Right? They've
Yeah.
had flashes, right? Even with Mitch, right? Like that Cowboys game, that primetime game where he just went off and just beat the Cowboys on his own, essentially, right? Like
Hmm.
Justin, the same thing, right? For the time for like 7, 8 weeks was arguably the best player in the league just by the stats and stuff that he's putting up by himself and carrying this team, right? Same thing with Caleb, right? He's had these flashes, but it's like we need consistency. And if right, we gave those guys 3 years, I'm gonna go back to it. We need to give Caleb 3 years, right? This is
Yeah.
this is year 2, year 1 of Ben Johnson's thing. And I think one thing that I'm getting super frustrated with Caleb, right, is I think he's just really scared to throw an interception.
He is. I don't know if that's like coached into him or if that's like actually how he is. Yeah, you're right. he's careful with the football. Like he's not a
Which,
gunslinger.
which is fine, right? Because it doesn't turn over and stuff like this, man. But it's just like, hey, man, like you gotta take shots down the field,
You got to chase the
right?
big plays.
Because if it's a 3rd and 1, right, and you bomb a Hail Mary, right, or you bomb a play down, like it's like, and he gets picked off at the opponent's 20-yard line, he gets tackled. That's as good as a freaking punt.
Mm.
You
I
know what I
think,
mean?
yeah, yeah, and I agree. I think this game specifically, he should have been taking more shots because your defense was playing well anyway. Like, just you have to keep trying to push the envelope. Don't be afraid.
I agree with you, right? I 100% agree with you, right? And something else that, right, as we're talking about this, right, like all the first picks this year are pretty much non-existent. Colston Loveland had 2 catches. Luther Burden had one for -3 yards, right? Like Kyle guy didn't do much. Like where were the uses of these young guys? Granted, yes, first game against, and I'm going to say this right now, against a top 5 defense. Right, Minnesota is a top 5 defense in the league. I don't care what anybody says with Brian Flores,
Oh,
and
they are.
and
Yeah,
they added, right. Like, yes, the
yeah, they
scoreboard says 24. Take away that pick six, they only allowed 17 points. And what's
yeah.
the magic number, right? That you want to get around, right? On a defensive perspective, is 16 to 17 points is where you want to get around to win a game,
Hmm.
right? Like you should win theoretically in the NFL. If you hold a team to that much points, you should win a game.
Yeah,
Take away the pick six, the defense held them to 17 points, right?
yeah.
And they did what they had to do, right? But yeah, I think all in all, I guess I'm still very angry we lost the game because we lost it in a Bears way. That is my thing. I think that's the thing that I'm really freaking pissed about. Is like this typical Chicago way to lose. But I had to remain positive, right? After my mental breakdown on Monday, right? Like I had to remain positive because yes, like there was a lot of positive there to show, right? Like Dennis Allen's defense is ready, right? Special teams is solid. But I do think, right, the Bears need a different kicker.
I I didn't the kicker situation, I don't how do I think you just have to limit him from making 50 yarders. Although like now in today's NFL, you need a kicker that can kick 50 yards.
I was about to say, I'm like,
And
why hold yourself to that points? Because then you have to go for it more dicey and stuff like that, right? Like, I don't know any team, right? Look, for example, what's his name? I know he's 41 years old and he's had a lot. Matt Prater came on and randomly made a game-winning field goal on that Sunday night, running on the field with no timeouts and everything set up, right? Like,
yeah,
and the Vikings kicker made a 59-yarder right before halftime. So it's like, and the fact is, like, you couldn't even boot, right, the ball out of bounds. Granted, he could have kicked it out of bounds and got the flag, and the Vikings started at the 40-yard line, which I think is what it should have done in the first place. Not even try to kick out of the end zone because
yeah,
he did
he
not.
does not have the leg for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because then my thing too is like, if that's the case, then why are we not throwing Toy Taylor back there? Right.
Yeah.
He has the boot for it. He has the leg for it.
Yeah.
Right. So my thing is like, like Cairo, unfortunately, yes, he's had his moments. He's money inside 45 yards, but like nowadays, right, people have kickers that make 55 consistently, 60 consistently, right? And
Yeah.
I think that if fine, if you want to keep him for the rest of the season, whatever. But going into the off season, right? I
You're
think
gonna have to explore.
you have to,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, him and running back. Like you need a kicker and a running back. You really need 2 guys. And something that I want to bring up too that I think, I don't know if you'll agree with me or so like there's like really no contractual stuff for DeAndre Swift this year, right? Like I don't think they owe him anything. So like don't be surprised halfway through the season if he's gone. He gets
If he
traded to
gets
some team.
traded,
Yeah.
uh, I did see that um next year is basically the end of his contract. So
Correct. So like don't
yeah,
don't don't be surprised if he and nothing's owed next year. So
yeah.
like make
It's
don't be surprised if he's traded for another pick or something like that, and Manungai starts and they draft another running back in the first round, right? But anywho, like it's just I know you're positive, and I know I got to stay positive, right? This is game one. There's still another
gotta stay
16
positive.
games.
There. Okay, so the reason I am saying stay positive is because one, it's the first game between the head coach and the quarterback. They're still trying to get in sync. The head coach is still trying to learn. Head coach, who's the offensive coordinator, is still trying to learn the personnel and exactly what everybody does well, how they react in games, uh, things like that. And then, like on top of it, um, like it's a new offense, man. Like it's just gonna take time. It really is. I don't. I don't know how else to put it. Like we just have to be patient. This is Caleb's first year again, just with a little bit of experience under his belt. Because everything that happened last year, it just, it was a waste. It it went out the window. All it
And I agree with you on that one, right? And but like the thing I'll push back on, right, is it's the same damn story every year, right? It's like, oh, or every time we switch, it's like, well, he's in new stuff. It's pretty basically a new year again. It's like, okay, granted, yes, I agree, like it is, but it's
but
like,
but the issue, so my thing with the previous years is like we would always get like maybe like a little flash, right? It was never like the first drive of the first quarter where it looked exactly like that. And that first drive is what gives me hope because I'm like, okay, as soon as he settles in, as soon as he's like, you know, done with the jittery feet, whatever, he's gonna be fine. He's got the arm talent. He's still got to work on the accuracy a little bit, but I think that's gonna come as he calms down in the pocket. But that he could do it, he could do it. It's just, you
right.
know, like we just got to give him time. He he probably doesn't even know half of what he saw this what Monday
Probably,
night.
I don't agree with. I mean, I don't disagree with you on that. Like, but I just I don't know. It's just is there hesitation, right? Like, yes, and I know I was high on this team this year. I said that they can win 10 games, and they can still do that, right? Like, it's just get one game of the season, right? But like, it's just looking at their schedule, like they really need to win those type. They got to close out, right? Kevin O'Connell is the best coach in the league, right? Like I don't know, I forgot what his record is. It's an insane record over his last like 20 something games and one score games. It's a crazy winning record, right? And
That's kind of wild. Yeah,
right, and that comes down to coaching, and that's why it's like, all right, like I will give Ben Johnson, right, the benefit of the doubt. First game, right, all these things needs to learn, and it's fine. Like he's going to, and I really think he's someone that really wants to hold everything accountable. It's just you know our schedule doesn't get easier, right? Like it's a tough schedule this year, right?
it's
And
not.
you know what I
What if
mean?
what if they go 9-7, but Caleb throws for 3,500 and 25 touchdowns?
I mean, that's that much. I mean, they win more games, but statistically, it's only six more touchdowns than last year. If
Mm,
they go 9-8, right, and Caleb throws over 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns and like six or seven picks, and like every week he gets progressively better, then I'm okay with that. But what I
hmm
saw last night, 2 nights ago, was the same Caleb as last year, right? Like dancing feet, inconsistently accurate down the field, and
mm,
rushes and holds the ball on too long, right? Like yes, he needs to get that coached out of. But right now, right, Ben Johnson, you had all offseason to do this. You know
mm.
what I mean? And the offensive line played fantastic, right? He had the most seconds. He had 3 point something seconds, right? And I think the average was like 2.4 this last week
Yeah,
one, right? So he had the most time to throw. So great, awesome. But too many penalties on that. Granted, right? The Darnell Wright holding call also was an entire change, and I'm not
that
going to get
was
on the
so
rants.
dumb.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to get on the rants on the refs because you know me, I can go on, and I'm just not going to use it as an excuse anymore because it is what it is. We can't control that, right?
Mm.
But that was horrible. That slip from Naylor, that was a slip. How are you going to call that a damn penalty anyway? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Darnell Wright played fantastic that game, right? Yeah, he had that phantom holding call. He had that the one false start, whatever. But
I thought Braxton was really good too.
Braxton played great too. So like that
Yeah.
offensive line played well for their first time in a game together, like an
Mm.
actual game together. So they played very well, and I was ecstatic for that. But I just
Self-inflicted. It was, yeah, it was self-inflicted wounds. Like
yeah,
at the end of the day, like you, those two calls we can't do anything about, but the other false starts that they had, like those are kind of unacceptable. You know, those are drive killers.
right, right.
And
So like all in all, right? Like I think I give the defense a B. Right, I give them a really good. That fourth quarter was absolutely abysmal. But how can you blame them when they were flying around all game and like literally Caleb couldn't get a first down in the fourth quarter. right?
Hmm.
Like that was bound to happen. You get a bunch of some injuries on that line too, right? Then you stop getting a push to the Montez Sweat needs to start getting his ass in the business, man. I'm sorry. Like he has we're paying him too much money not to do anything on the offensive line. Granted, yes.
Ode Ode
Like,
Yabo, or I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm sorry. The guy we just signed from the Colts, he was flashing, dude.
oh, absolutely. He thrived in that defense.
Yeah, he was making plays. That,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God. I agree. I
Mm-hmm.
agree. Montez needs to, like, you got a guy on the other side now. Like, you should have the pressure taken off of you, and you gotta make a play. Like, it's not gonna it's not gonna get any easier.
It's not, right? And then yeah, he had a sack, right? He had a tackle for loss, like two QB hits. He had a great game. He had a
Hmm.
great game. But like, hey, Montez Sweat, what are you doing? Tremaine Edmonds, Noah Sewell had a decent game, I will
No,
admit,
so
right?
yep.
Like he was flying around there playing, like he was doing well, but he also got torched on that Aaron Jones touchdown.
Hmm.
Torched. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that's what I mean. Like these guys flash, but talent wise, people say like, oh, we're gonna have this stuff, this, that, and the other. It's like talent wise, we're still not there. Talent wise, right? And that's why I think that I began this kind of earlier in this segment was just like, yeah, like right, we gotta start holding Ryan
It's
Poles
on Ryan.
accountable. We got
Yeah,
it's
that's
on Ryan, right? Like stop being cocky with your fucking draft picks, right? Like you took an offensive tackle, what third overall because you thought he so whatever, not third overall, but Ozzie Trevino. He's supposed to be on the offensive line. Where is he? Right? Like all these things. Like you got. In essence, do I love Tory Taylor? Yeah, but like dog,
pick.
like you could have. You were in a rebuild, and yes, Tory Taylor might be our punter for the next 12 to 15 years, and you might have stabled that great. But like in a position of rebuilding a team, a fourth pick should not be used for a kicker. I am
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. That was an arrogant pick. Uh, I think there was a running back going around that area. Oh, it's Bucky Irving.
Right?
Bucky
And look at that.
Bucky
Like.
Irving went a couple picks later, and look,
eh,
like it's things like that, man. Like that's what makes you not trust the front office. Like, do they know what they're doing? Like, what are you doing? Do you know your
Right.
personnel? Just because they have a good personality doesn't mean they're good at football, man.
And you hit it on the head, right? I feel like sometimes Ryan Poles is a little arrogant.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
it's just
he
like, bro,
is.
you haven't proven anything. You said you
Yeah.
want to take the North back, my dog. We've been last every single time you've been GM. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is taking this North back?
Mm.
Like,
It,
yes, you got us out of cap hell, all that crap, right? Like, you've had some nice picks, but like, I'm
look,
sorry, you've won how many games?
look, that's all good. Getting out of cap hell is all good and all, but like, look, Ryan Pace had us in cap hell, but we had probably one of the best defenses in the league. Our offense was at times it was explosive. Yeah, he had some misses, but he was also the guy who found David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert. Was
Eddie
it Khalil?
Jackson,
Eddie Jackson. He found Adrian Amos, Eddie Goldman.
right? He had
Like
some nice picks, right? Like he
he
had
he
players
was
that were profoundly impacting things. Poles, where's that? Okay, all right, yeah, Kyler Gordon, right? I think that, right? Like
Darnell Wright. Like
Darnell, right? Okay, fine, but like taking like that linebacker, right? Hip light, like granted, yes, but he's special teamers, man. We don't need
yeah,
special teamers. We're not in that position to do so. And granted, yes, is Darnell Wright being great? Absolutely. But we still could have taken Jalen Carter there because that would have solidified our pass rush, which we're struggling with right now. So like
yeah,
I feel like sometimes you overthink it and his arrogance get in the way because I'm like my dog. You have no reason to be arrogant in this point because you have proven nothing
yeah.
up to this
I
point.
yeah, up till now, I think I know Jalen Carter has his issues, but like he's a dog. He's a football player, man. Like he's a dog. You got to take him.
You
He
have
was a
to.
generational defensive tackle, and he
Yeah,
fell to you, and
he
he
fell
fell
to.
right to you. All you had to do is take him. So
Right. So then trade right to get an offensive lineman. Yes, and Darnell Wright has been great the last 3 years. That right side, I'm not worried about, and he'll probably be a Bear forever. So yes, in the long grand scheme of things, it'll be great. But like, dude, and like my thing is like, you trust your draft board. I'm not trusting your draft board. Your draft board has been horrendous the last couple of years, man. Like, geez, you think, oh, we're gonna trust our draft board? You have
there's
missed.
yeah.
Ugh,
I
ugh.
I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna lie. I think he was. probably one of the guys that had Rome over Malik Neighbors on his board. I had Malik Neighbors over Rome, and
So did I.
I still think Neighbors is going to be really good.
And Rome had a decent game, right? Six receptions, 37 yards, and that touchdown was beautiful. That was a really well played design. I will give Ben Johnson that. That was
That,
beautifully done, and
that was great.
right.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like DJ led it with 48 or 68 yards, right? Then it was Zacchaeus with 42, then Rome with 37, and Komet had one catch, 31. Then it was 12, 12, and 11 yards, and -3 from Burden. It's like you draft these guys, but my thing is like, no offense, like who are your scouts? Some of these guys have not panned out. And granted, like I know we've been diverging a little bit from the game and stuff like that, but it matters. It really truly matters because you go to the Vikings lineup. Yes, Aaron Jones Jr., Aaron Jones, right, senior. He's but they signed Jordan Mason. Jordan
Jordan
Mason went
Mason.
off,
Yeah.
right? Great. They have right Justin Jefferson, great pick there, right? They have
Hmm.
they have like these great things that they're doing. Their defense is
Yeah.
outstanding, right? Because they drafted him, but also make these moves. And to me, it's just like that's how winning teams happen, right? That's why Kevin O'Connell can go 14-3 with Sam Darnold as his quarterback.
Yeah, he's got guys. Like they're guys that can play. They have talent. Like they're actual guys in the NFL. And I feel like we just have like just guys, and we
Yeah.
don't and it's kind of tough to win like that. Like not because I'm looking at their roster. Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Naylor, Adam Thielen, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Christian
Right. And
Darrisaw.
they didn't even have Jordan Addison,
And
right? Like
they didn't even have Christian Darrisaw. Like this is yeah, they built a good like
they
their
built a great
defense is
roster.
yeah,
Yeah, and then you look at our defense, right? Noah Sewell, Tremaine Edmonds, Kevin Byron, right? Like a Brisker. You know what I mean? Tyreek Stevenson, Javon Dexter, Jared Grady. I barely even saw him on the fields, right? Like Montez Sweat, like Jonathan
yeah,
Owens, like these guys compared to what Minnesota has on their defense is nowhere, right? Like
yeah.
nowhere near the talent, right? Yes, are some pieces here and there, of course, but like same thing on the offense. You sign all these offensive like people like that, but like, did we really need that tight end at 10? Right? It goes back to what I said in the draft. Do we really need that tight end at 10?
I think part of that might have been the coach
Sure.
influencing that.
But then why is he only getting 2 targets then?
I agree. I agree. You need to use him more. 'Kay, I love Cole Kmet, and I think Cole is probably I would think Cole is better than DJ at this point because I have not seen a ton from DJ lately. Um, but yeah, I think all the touches need to start shifting over to Loveland. We got to start
Right.
seeing what he could do. And it's
And it's the same thing with Rome, and guess what? It's the same thing with Luther Burden, right? Like, and look,
yeah,
Luther Burden, you used him for one return. He had a 44-yard return. Why are we not using him as a rookie
yeah,
return there, right? If you drafted this guy, he has the talent. Granted, right? What's his name? Devin Duvernay.
Devin
Right?
Duvernay.
He had 3 returns for 81 yards, so great. But like, Burden touched the ball once and it was explosive for 44 yards. Like, why are we
Yeah,
not implementing that there? So like,
get the ball in his hands. Yeah, like
thank you. Get the ball in your playmakers' hands, and I feel like once again, going back to the Vikings game on Monday night, I just feel like in the second half they moved away from that. They moved away from that. Even after that first drive, right? Caleb was dealing that first drive, right? Was what 5 for 5, 51 yards and 10 yard rushing, right? Like touchdown,
yeah.
right? Like he was moving that ball. Yes, Brian Flores adjusted. I don't think Ben Johnson did as much. I think Ben Johnson wanted to stick with his script, and that's something else that might be a little bit nerve wracking for me. It's like, Ben, are you going to adjust to the league, or are you going to be like Matt Nagy and be super goddamn stubborn and not adjust?
Hmm. Well, I think that's where Declan Doyle, the new offensive coordinator, has to kind of step in and
Sure,
be that ear, be that voice in his ear. Like,
sure.
and it's a good thing that he comes from like a Sean Payton offense. It's not his, it's a completely different offense. Like, you know, give him ideas, let him know when
Agreed.
he's being too rigid. Yeah, like the good thing is he surrounded himself with really good coaches that at least this week he should be fine dealing with the loss. And
I
then,
think you should. I think you're right. Which goes into our preview for next week, right?
mm,
I think you're right. That surrounding of his stuff, right, going into Detroit is going to be an emotional game for him. It really is, right? Like he spent how many years there, right?
mm,
So like, do I think it's a must win for the Bears? I don't want to say that because it is week 2, but I believe it is a must win for the Bears.
it is.
I hate to say that so early in the season, but like you go down 0-2, you gotta play
You,
Detroit and then you gotta play the Raiders. I mean sorry, Dallas and then the Raiders, right? Like and then after that you have your bye then the Commanders. It don't get easier. You need
those
this win.
the next two teams looked really good.
Yes.
Like at least Detroit came out flat last week, but they're gonna come back like
Oh,
ready
Dan
to
Campbell's
go.
going to get those ready. They're going to
Yeah,
come out there, right? Because they're going to want to prove to Ben Johnson, hey, you left. You made a mistake leaving, right? You
yeah,
made a mistake leaving here, right? So, like, those boys are going to come out and play. They really, really, really are. So,
they
like,
are.
here it is, Ben. Are you going to get your guys ready to come back? Because guess what? I told you this at Reggie's, right? Like, well, what something that I saw difference between Ben Johnson and Eberflus is Ben Johnson had his guys ready to play. They came out swinging. They came out flying.
Oh,
This,
they're
that, and the
ready.
other,
Yeah.
right? Eberflus never has done that on any damn freaking home
Any
opener, right?
after a bye week,
Right.
after a home opener, he
Nothing.
never has. Yeah.
So my thing is like I think they're gonna be ready for that Detroit game, but my thing is like, hey, are you gonna let Caleb open that box a little bit more? Are you gonna challenge it, right? I do think the Bears go in there. I think they find a way to win in a scrappy game. It's gonna be more of a shootout in my opinion. I think the Bears win 31-27.
I'm the I'm I am gonna be the pessimistic one. I know I'm saying stay
Really?
positive, yeah, but
The turntables.
yeah, I think this is a loss. And the reason why is because of how bad they got embarrassed at Lambeau last week. And I just think like they're just gonna be too much to handle for
Mm.
us. And unless and especially from what I saw from the offense, like they're just our offense, like we're just not there yet. Like unless they just some magically put it together and, just go on a crazy scoring spree, like that's the only way I could see it working,
Mm.
or that's the only way I could see us winning. But yeah, we might have luck on defense just because, they're kind of down a couple of linemen. I know they lost their center this offseason. So Grady Jarrett, Javon Dexter might have a couple of sacks. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just think with all the emotions and being at home, like it might be a little bit too much for us.
I agree with you right in that aspect, but I don't know. I just feel like right this is exactly what we got Ben Johnson for, right? Like not to let things get ugly,
Mm-hmm.
right? And yes, Detroit's banged up. So are the Bears, right? So like, and right now trending Jalen and TJ Edwards are trending to play on Sunday, which is great. I think
That's
that'll
a
be
good
huge.
sign.
It's a huge sign, right? So like, because what I'm really nervous, right, is if Tyreek Stevenson injures actually it's like a bad injury, and so is Wright's like that Detroit offense is going to be scary. And you're right. I think the biggest game the game is going to be won right now in the trenches because if you let David Montgomery and Gibbs start running wild, it's going to open up right
It's gonna open up everything for them.
everything. So you need to contain, right? They did a good job overall containing Mason, and I
And
think the
Aaron
running backs.
Jones.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they had under 100 rushing yards, right? JJ I think had 25, so like they put him over the 100-yard mark. But you take away JJ's 25 rushing yards as a QB, which are scrambles, they held the running backs under 100, which is great. You know what I mean? So I feel like if they do that, they can win. And I really think, right? Yes, obviously, right. Like the one positive thing here is Ben. Dan Campbell knows, right, Ben Johnson's play calls and stuff like that. But there's a new DC there, right? The DC is not the same that was the year before. So like
Hmm.
that's an advantage, I think, to the Bears, right? Because it's like, okay, like the DC might know some stuff. Dan Campbell knows some ins and outs, but the DC is not 100% familiar what like it would have been if the DC was there before. Is it Aaron Glenn? I think it was.
Aaron Glenn. Yeah.
Right. It was who's the Jets head coach now. If he
Yeah.
was still there, yes, I would probably be in agreement with you that they lose. But I think because of that, right? I think the fact that Caleb, right, is probably gonna be pissed. He's like, great. Now I have to hear this other media of like someone else in my draft. being quote unquote better than me and playing better than me, which once again we agree that Jane Daniels did not outplay him that game if we take away the Hail Mary,
Yeah,
right? Like,
he didn't. Yeah.
right. Drake May did, you know what I mean? But like I think Caleb's gonna come back. I think Ben Johnson's gonna come back. Like I said, I think it's gonna be a 31-27 Bears win. But I can also see where you and I see the Bears get their fucking face kicked in. Like I really can see that too. I
Yeah.
really can see the opposite happening. They come out there and they're flat. But in Ben Johnson, I trust, and this is what we brought him in for to stop these cycles of bleeding quick. And I think if the Bears can win this game against Detroit and Caleb looks good, I can forgive the Vikings meltdown on Monday night
I
because I
I
think
agree.
they need to set themselves up in a one and point position because Dallas, Raiders, and
It's gonna be
Commanders after the
tough.
bye is going to be tough, right?
Yeah.
And I think,
Like
yeah,
oh no, it's September, man. Shit gets weird. Like
yeah, yeah,
this this is where, 1 in 10 teams beat fucking 10-2 teams, right? Like
yeah,
this is literally where it happens. Like we have no idea what any of these teams are. So, you know, we'll we'll see. We're hopeful. My
right.
I know my prediction wasn't as hopeful, but
All right, it's all right, it's all right.
it's
But yeah, but speaking of
fingers crossed.
predictions, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna do this little segment at the end of each end of each episode where we're gonna pick a game where we think it's a lock and a game that we think it's gonna be an upset. So I'll go first. I think a game that's a lock is I know this would be an easy one. Was the Ravens over the Browns? I think the Ravens are gonna come out there, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens 50 piece them, man. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they
They
just say screw it and we're just gonna go absolutely ape shit because I know it's a division game. They play it tight, but you know they're gonna be pissed from that last Sunday night game. So I think the Ravens are 100% a lock, and I would not be surprised if they said, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna drop 50 points on you this week."
they always play them tough. No
I know
way.
they do, but I think that's my lock, right? And then my upset. I know this is gonna sound crazy. I think the Commanders going to Lambeau tomorrow and they beat the Packers.
Wow,
I
that's a big
and I
one.
know it's crazy, right? Listen, it's only 3.5, right? The spread's close. It's 145 for the money line for Washington, right? Like it's
Well,
close, but like
Washington's favored.
fa- Washington's no Washington in my thing right here. Green Bay's favored by 3.5.
Oh, okay. You
Yeah,
sure?
yeah, yeah. My the spread's at 3.5. Green Bay money line is Washington 145 plus 145.
Oh,
Um,
okay, yeah. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
but I think right, like the Commanders had a pretty easy game against the Giants, right? Didn't have to do much, right? Like 21-6, whatever. I think the Packers with a high emotion, right? All this Micah Parsons stuff, right? But like this is gonna come down right to where you and I talk, right? I think defenses are both, but I think right is gonna come down to a Jaden Daniels, Jordan Love type of game, and I think Jaden Daniels
Is better than Jordan Love.
in these types of games.
Yeah.
I
He
really believe so.
yeah.
So
I
I
would
think my
I agree.
upset is the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels go upset the team up north, and that is my upset of the week.
Wow. Okay. My lock is Buccaneers versus Texans. I'm taking the Buccaneers. All right. From what I saw against the Rams Texans game, good God, dude. CJ's dying on every play. Like that offensive line is embarrassing. But he has no time to throw. They they have no shot. Not
No,
against the Bucks. And especially
no,
with their offensive firepower, Todd Bowles on calling defense, like it's not happening. Like they're
yeah,
Buccaneers are a lock. Um
yeah. And yeah, you're right with CJ. Like, it's the same thing. I think what happened with Deshaun Watson, right? Why he left is like you got rid of all my best offensive linemen, and you're gonna make me die out here. So why do I want to play for your team? And
yeah,
CJ is running for his effing life. Like, yes, he has not captured that right rookie season, right? Magic, but like the last 2 years, that man, he's gonna get hurt. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets hurt at some point. So I
he
100% agree with you. Like, that was an ugly, ugly game last week. But yeah, I would agree with you. That Bucks, I think, yeah, they take care of business on Monday night.
it's gonna be bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Upset. Jeez, I'm scrolling through these. I'm gonna say I don't want to I'm gonna regret it. Dolphins are gonna beat the Patriots.
What?
I,
Did you watch the Dolphins
I
game that I
know, I
saw
know. I'm not.
yesterday?
I don't even want to. That's why I was like, do I want it? Nah.
Uh
The I maybe they bounce back. I know they got their ass kicked by the Colts, but hey, they still have Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane. The Patriots weren't that great against the Raiders anyway.
yeah, you're
So
right. You're right. You know what I mean? I think Daniel Jones scored on all 7 drives. I don't understand. I
insane.
if he starts to pan with the Colts and Kevin Stefanski, then it's just like, yeah, it was 100% the Giants organization.
Hmm. By the
So
way, that whatever lineman that was talking shit, like I bet he feels like shit now for
right, right,
right
right.
talking about fake toughness. But look at your team, man. They got their ass kicked by Daniel Jones.
Right,
Like,
by Daniel Damn Jones. Like,
yeah,
that's crazy. But yeah, the Dolphins going, and the Dolphins home at least.
yeah. Dolphins are at home.
Okay, all right, I can see that. But that's rough.
It's
Tua
gonna be
needs to get his
tough.
Tua needs to get his craps together if that's gonna happen.
Hmm. It's
Yeah,
gonna be tough, but I could see Jalen Waddle having a really good game. Devon Achane just
fair enough.
taking over,
Yeah.
and all that being too much for the Patriots. So
No, 100%, 100%. Yeah, no,
yeah,
no, cool. Awesome. Well, that was episode 9. Next week will be episode 10. So that'll be kind of awesome. It'll be kind of a special episode. We will probably record on that Monday night after we get our reactions out and stuff like that. Probably try to do something kind of special for that day. But yeah, it was awesome. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.
bye.
Peace. Oh, shoot.